everyone. Um,
Hi.
Hi. So for everyone who's streaming right now, welcome to the artist panel for Women Rise Day One lead up event to the launch. And I'm in company of such talented and brilliant artists. I have personally met Abby and Emonee in person, and I haven't met Camila and Talia. We need to remedy that. So I'm so excited to be speaking with you ladies today. They are so talented, they are so brilliant, they have worked on incredible projects. And yeah, I'm just honored to, that we are all here together. So why don't we start with like some introductions? And yeah, on my screen, I have Camila. So Camila, you have the floor.
Hi,
Please introduce yourself.
hello world. So I'm Camila Nogueira. I'm a Portuguese digital artist working as a freelancer since 2015, and I am in the NFT space since January of this year. I have done some drops with crypto.com and super rare, but I'm still exploring the space and getting to know the community, and it's been a wonderful journey so on.
Thank you so much, Camila. Abby,
Hi.
please introduce yourself. Hi.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm from Top Dog Beach Club. I co-founded the project with my brother-in-law Paul, and we're a collectibles project, profile picture project. And we launched about 4 months ago. But I'm also a traditional artist and a digital artist, and have my own collection on Foundation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Abby. Talia, I have you on my screen next. Please introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited to be in company of such great women, first of all. I'm Talia. I'm a fashion illustrator and artist in the traditional world of art, I would say. And yes, and now I'm getting into NFTs with my first NFT art and fashion project, Eyes of Fashion, which is inspired by my collection that I've already exhibited of over 70 paintings of Eyes of Fashion. So yeah, that's it. So I'm so excited to be here. And also, by the way, I'm starting to show my art on Maker's Place. So this is really brief.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Talia. Emonee, hi.
Hi. My name's Emonee. I am a 2-time Emmy Award. I love that. Does that show up for everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I thought it was just like a private message. I was like, oh my God. Okay. Sorry.
No, that shows. Yeah, that's Tanya. She said this in Discord as well.
I love that. Okay. I am a 2-time Emmy Award winning motion graphics artist. I predominantly work in music visuals, but I've actually decided that I'm going to take this year off, 2022, to dedicate to NFTs. I think I spent a total of 27 days all of last year. And I was working on a lot of client work, and it was fun because I love doing music visuals, but it's also NFTs is where my heart is pulling me. So I'm pushing more towards that direction. And yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go to the Art Basel yet. I'm still deciding on that, but I do have my first physical piece. It's with NFT Now and Christie's, and it's going to be my first ever physical piece. So that's going to be crazy. But yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And I'm so grateful that all of you, took out time from your busy schedule, because clearly all of you are doing such amazing things, not just in the NFT world, in general, as artists. And yeah, I'm so excited to be in conversation with you guys. So, whenever I'm talking to an artist, the most interesting aspect to me, at least, is the process. And we will dive into more details about like NFT projects that you're doing or any upcoming work that you're working on. But I really want to learn about like the process of an artist, like for some of us, like we have been artists like before NFTs even existed. So I want to hear from you guys about the process. We can go in order again, just because like that's how it is on my screen. But yeah, feel free to jump in, and yeah, I would love to hear about your process.
Should I start?
Yeah, Camila, go ahead.
Okay.
Awesome.
So my process, it depends a little bit if I'm working for a client, if I'm with a client project, or if I'm with a personal project. So if I'm with a client project, I have a brief that I have to follow. So it's not total freedom. And how I usually start is just brainstorming some ideas, not even drawing, nothing. I would just brainstorm and write ideas, not really worrying if they are good or bad. So that I can after just look at them and see if they make any sense and if they work for the goal that I have for the project. And after that, I will just sketch a few thumbnails to see if they will work when they get into final pieces. And I will try to reach out to the client if it's a client work, and I will try to reach out to the client and ask him if this is the direction that he sees the project is going. If we both agree that's a good direction, I will just, I'm happy with some thumbnails, some little sketches, I will just blow it up in Photoshop and start working like the bigger details and all the light and shadow and adjustments and textures. But it's kind of the process, it's almost the same, but all of the projects have like little tweaks and specificities, if you know what I mean. So but it's more or less like that. And if it's a personal project where I have a little bit more freedom, I tend to go through the same process. I don't have like a client who I can talk about the ideas, but I try to ask for feedback, always ask for feedback to my fellow artists or someone in the creative space, because sometimes we get so focused on what we are doing and we forget that other people have to resonate with that, and we can get lost in it. So I always encourage other artists to just ask for feedback. Sometimes it's hard, the criticism, but it's needed.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And that's actually really brave, because I don't know if I would be able to, how I would react to like criticism, because, as artists, we can be a bit sensitive too.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for sharing that. And I love how you said it needs to resonate with other people as well. And feedback is a huge part of that. So that's beautiful. Abby, I kind of know about your project because, we have had our discussions and we have had our talks. But for the people here and our fellow artists, please share your artistic process.
Thank you. Firstly, I want to say, if people haven't seen Camila's work, it's absolutely beautiful. I had a look earlier and I thought, wow, this piece is amazing. And then I noticed the moon was moving across the sky, and then some of the elements were just slightly animated. And then the time of day changed in the picture. It's really beautiful. So yeah, that's awesome work. So for me, there's two sides to my artwork. There's the artwork where I can just do what I want and do what I love and just kind of go crazy, and it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. And that's kind of doing sort of oil paint is something that I really love. And then more recently, a digital style, which looks a little bit like oil. So I start by just thinking about the basic shapes on the page, because it needs to look kind of good from far away. And I used to start out with all the little details, but then I realized by the time you got to the big picture, it didn't really look right. So I was trying to start big and then kind of work my way into the details. But I like what you said, Camila, about getting lost in it as well. I really understand that, because, I'm sure all artists have been through this, but you start a piece and you obsess over it and you don't look away from it for a second, for hours, and you think what you've done is genius, right? And you go to sleep and you wake up the next day and you look at it, you're like, what is this trash? Did I do this? So I think it's important to sort of take a step back and ask other people. It hurts when they don't like it. It hurts so much. But it's important that you do get that. And that in particular for me, if I'm doing a generated project, it requires a lot of feedback from the team, and that's a totally different thing. Just getting a lot of feedback. I don't like this, I don't like that. That looks really great, but we need to adjust that. For me, that's a lot harder because like you said, Maliha, the feedback is hard to take sometimes. But in the end, I think you end up with a better product, don't you, or a better piece of art.
Thank you so much, Abby. You always have something so wonderful to say. I'm so grateful to have you here. I have okay, so just a little FYI, I have shared like links to all of the 4 artists that we have here. Links to their Twitter, and go check out their work, follow them, support them. They're incredible. And yeah, thank you so much, Abby. With that, Talia, please share your creative process with us.
Hey, I've been loving all your answers so far. Oh my God. Like I hear so much resemblance, yet so many things for me are also different. So I'm going to share a bit about my process for my live art that I've been doing a lot before COVID, which was sketching live at different fashion shows and being commissioned to sketch live. Which was a huge challenge for me, but I love just capturing the moment. I would use I have a like a traveling color palette with watercolor in it, and the little brush for the watercolor. And usually I would see a model or a celebrity backstage or in a fashion show, and just try to capture their essence really quickly with the watercolor, and then just get it as fast as I can, really see the fashion, and put in my interpretation as an artist within it. Because every person has, this really special part to them. So that's with the live art. And I love it. It also really makes me overcome my fears of, just sketching someone super fast and not being afraid of what will come out. And then it really helps me also with sketching my project with clients. As well, I also go to feedback. I have a few friends, actually, artist friends, that they know that they're my feedback friends and I'm their feedback friend. And then we just give each other feedbacks on our art because we're all such perfectionists, right? So we always need this like real criticism and not just someone say, oh, I don't like it or something like that. That's not constructive. So I do that. But really what excites me is just capturing the moment with a lot of colors and exact accurate lines. And yeah, that's what I do. And I got to sketch some celebrities like Celine Dion and Mariah Carey, and also Kendall Jenner live. So it's always exciting for me to see the reaction, and that's a part of my joy, like to see how the person views how I captured them. And it's interesting to see every time.
Talia just dropped names of the biggest celebrities so casually. That's amazing. And I love how you said,
Thank you.
and I love how you said, you have a safe space with some of your friends and you guys share feedback for each other's work. I think that's so healthy and that's so important because like somebody just saying, okay, that's not good, is not helping you grow. If anything, that's just hurting you. And I think creating that safe space between the person that you're asking for feedback is really important. But of course, like we all are different, and sometimes like also like with social media, it can be a bit different too. Like the feedback can be a bit different. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Emonee, hi. Please share
Yeah,
your
I like
uh,
wanted to like jump in and be like, yes, I wish we had like the reactions, like in the Twitter space where it's like 100, like that,
oh
like I wish there was that in here.
no. Yeah.
But like I 100% I 100% like agree. I feel like having someone say like, oh, it's trash is almost like just as bad as someone just saying, oh, I love it. Because like when I'm asking for critiques, I'm like, I want you to roast this piece. Like I want you to like try to nitpick and find the smallest things, because I'm staring at it for so long that I just become like completely desensitized to like the smallest errors. And like it's like the little details, like my most recent piece I sent off to this artist that I'm obsessed with his work, honestly. Like I use his work for references all the time. And I was like, hey, like if you had like the chance, you think you could check out this piece? And I like sent it to him and he was like, it's amazing. I was like, no, I need you to rip this apart. Like what is wrong with this? And he brought out some really valid points that I was like, I knew it. Like I knew it, because when I was watching it, I knew it was hitting my eye wrong, but I couldn't figure out what. And he pointed it out, and like him having the technical like skill was able to help me. And I was like, oh my God, like this is exactly what I needed. And it took me 2 more days to like really push it out. But if I didn't have done that, like it would have been the bad idea that I initially put out. So I think when it comes to like my process, I am a very technical artist. I would say that I'm more technically skilled than like creatively like talented, because there's some people that you give them like a pen and paper and they will doodle, and it is like, how did you come up with that? Like where in your mind did that like come out of? And I'm not that artist. Like I need to sit and like think and like what I do is typically when I'm working with like music visuals, I listen to the song a million times, like just on repeat. And then I think about the words that are really like popping out to me. So like, if like I'm getting really psychedelic vibes, I start taking that word and kind of stemming from that. And one huge thing for me is I throw those words into like image search places. So like Giphy. I use Dribble. I use like all these great resources to type in these words that I know are just really a part of this like song or feeling or emotion. And so my process heavily relies on like other art. Like I take in art and I try to regurgitate everything that I've ever taken in my own personal experience. And to me, I feel like that's what art is, you know, like I don't know if you guys have ever seen this YouTube series called Everything is a Remix, but it completely changed my perspective on art. But they have the biggest shows, the biggest artists, the biggest films, and they break it down to where these films came from and like how each individual scene came from something else. And they did one for Star Wars, and they broke down every single shot to show like it had existed somewhere else. And it's just like, this magical film that has been such an iconic film stemmed from other great forms of art. And so to me, like that is my process of like taking in art. But yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Emonee. I love how different, I mean, we four are artists, right? And people can put us in that category, four of you. But you know, I think it's so interesting to hear how each one of you have like a completely different process and way of viewing art, and it's still art, you know. So it's really interesting. It's so beautiful. Well, I want to dive into the NFT world now, and I want to ask one question, because I've been seeing a lot of it now, and I've had a conversation with, you know, I've had conversations with like some artists which weren't treated so well in the traditional field, and they see NFTs as like, you know, this new opportunity to take, you know, some power back from the people or from the system that made, you know, artists kind of jump through hoops. And I think it can be really difficult, of course, depending on, again, which field of art you're in. For you guys, I want to know, how do you see, firstly, how did you even come across NFTs? And secondly, do you see it as a liberation of artists? So yeah.
So how I came across it, at first I came across it in October 2020, but I was so full of work that I was like scrolling on Super Rare without having any idea what was going on. I was just seeing so many good art, and just like if I those three traces, I was like, what is this? What are people doing in here? But I was so full of projects that I was like, okay, never mind. I will leave it here open in a tab and I will go back to it after, because I had a friend saying, hey, you should check this out. But I knew nothing about crypto, blockchain, nothing. So, and then time went on and other projects, and I forgot about it. And then only in January of this year, I had the time to just sit and look at it again and start researching. And then I finally understood what was Ethereum and what was a blockchain and what those amazing artists I saw like 3 months before were doing. And I was like, what the hell is this? I'm a digital artist. I need to dive deep, because this is the future. Like, finally, we can authenticate our art and like make unique pieces of art that cannot be stolen. So for me, that was like a big eye opener. But first, I really have had to dig deep about the technology, because I wanted to understand what was happening before doing something. Because I also knew a lot about the scams going on and a lot of money being thrown around. So I'm not gonna lie, that also made me like really curious, because I never saw like that big amount of money being spent on digital art. But now that I understand that it is authenticated, it's a lot different. So what was the other question? I'm sorry. This is how I started, but I forgot the other.
No, it's wonderful to hear how you started in the NFT field. The other question was, do you see it as like a liberation movement for artists? Because artists in real world, sometimes in traditional fields, have been exploited. Either galleries keep a big cut, or if you're a musician, your record label keeps a big cut, and you rarely get what like rarely get the amount that your work is worth, or the amount of effort you have put in. So yeah, the question is like, do you see NFT as a liberation for artists?
Totally. NFTs and the blockchain technology just allows us to first maybe be founded by our community and the people that love our work, instead of having to like give a big share to the galleries or to the streaming places, like music labels, Spotify or whatever. So that's a big step. And other thing is like the royalties we get like in perpetuity. So you have every time a digital work of yours just changes hands, the collector who collected your work first gets his share, but you also get the royalty like for life. And that's amazing. That's amazing. That's been amazing since January, getting royalties. It's like, wow, okay, someone is buying my artwork. It's also good to see like where the piece is going, the hands are changing. And yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, royalties is something like, we sometimes like forget about. Definitely it's something that I don't think that's, I mean, I haven't seen that in traditional field. I may be wrong, but obviously, like, once you sell your art piece, especially like if you sold the
It's
copyrights,
gone.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's gone.
yeah,
It's, you don't
yeah.
you don't own it anymore. But yeah, it's really cool. Like in the NFT field, definitely, I think so. You're not just making like upfront money when you're selling your work, but you're also getting yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. Abby, hi. What
Hi.
are your thoughts on this?
I think I might be coming from a slightly different perspective, really, because you guys, you've kind of worked for a lot of big names from what I can see. You've had lots of success in your careers as artists and traditional artists as well. For me, I think it's a slightly different story. Being an artist was an absolute dream of mine. It was something I did in my spare time. I'd sold a few pieces for maybe, $40 or something at a time, and was really happy with that. But actually being a full-time artist was a dream that I didn't really think would ever happen. So for me, it's about just being given the opportunity, because I think without NFTs, I don't know if it would have happened for me, in all honesty. I think actually letting the people decide if your work is good, or if you're worthy to be, your art is worthy to be viewed or to be bought. Let everybody decide, rather than the galleries, that middleman who kind of creates a barrier between you and your audience. So for me, it's absolutely changed my life beyond recognition, in an amazing way, and I'm so grateful for it. In terms of the financial side of things, I don't know sort of how much a gallery takes. I haven't got an idea. And I thought actually the artist would get a lot more money with NFTs, and I think that's mainly true until I listed a piece on Foundation recently when gas was high. I don't know if you guys have used Foundation, but the fees are so high, and there's so many different transactions you have to do. At the end of it, I was like, "Ooh, I can see why everything's so expensive on here, because you have to cover your own costs." So yeah, it's really great to hear. I'm interested to see what everyone else has got to say as well. But I imagine you guys are going to be from, you've obviously got some success in real life art before NFTs.
Thank you so much, Abby, for sharing that. Yeah, I need to share the foundation link for sure, in the chat shortly. And yeah, your work, I love your work. So your work is very different. We spoke about this like briefly. The project that you created, Top Dog Beach Club, your work that you produced like recently with the portraits that are on Foundation right now, it's so different than the generative project. And I think we spoke about this a little bit, that I think with the portraits, like more of you comes through, more of your passion, your interest comes through, and I think that's so beautiful. But yeah, I've never used Foundation. That's really interesting to know. I don't know. Should they do something about that? Because, yeah, I don't know. Like, I haven't used it yet. But thank you so much for sharing that, Abby. Um, Talia, hi.
So I have so much to say about this topic
Awesome.
for the
We would
second
love to hear
part,
it
since I
all.
was speaking this week. Yeah, I was speaking this week with lawyers about copyright and NFTs in a panel in Malta and the AIBC Summit. But first, I will dive a bit into how I started with NFTs, what drew me into this world. So I first heard about NFTs, surprise, surprise, when Beeple sold his art for $69 million, and was basically, it wasn't possible to ignore that. I don't think there was a media channel that didn't talk about it. And I didn't really understand quite what it was yet, but I really started to research. I was like, what is this? This is insane. I started to check and really investigate for several months, since April 2020, I think it was. And I was quite scared to start my own NFT, to put it out there. And it didn't work for my benefit, I don't think, because I missed this beautiful, part that I think that's where artists had most of their success out there. But I'm happy that I did eventually get the confidence to put out my first piece, even though I'm a known artist. A lot of my work is mostly for commercial illustration and for clients, as a commission. And just like before COVID, I didn't really have time. I was always traveling and sketching at different events and working with different clients. And I didn't have the time to, dedicate into going into selling my original art as is. I did a solo exhibit, but I didn't really, it was just before COVID hit. So it was really the beginning of my journey of just selling my art as is. And that brings me, I guess, to the second part of, so basically, I will just continue about the continuation of the path of the NFT. Then after I put my first art out there, even though I did it all the wrong way, I just put it up on OpenSea, because it was already October 2020. And all the good platforms today are kind of already closed for artists that are, and I'm an artist now. I'm starting to get into them, but still there's other artists that today it's so hard, to just get into super rare. They or even like I don't know, Maker's Place or all the other or known origin. So basically it takes time. I think the market today, it's not what it quite was a few months ago. And then lucky enough, um, someone saw my art, my co-founder of my project, Eyes of Fashion, and he said, listen, you did it all wrong, but we need to do something else together. And I got a few other requests, actually. That brings me also to the second part, from galleries that already are, taking the commission. So it does definitely have a place in the new world of the NFTs. I don't know if for good or for bad, because for me, as a commercial illustrator and with the style of my art, which is not really, um, big, huge pieces that you would usually see in a gallery, or sculptures, or things that are known in the fine art world. It was hard for me to find my say in the traditional art world of just selling my art as is. And suddenly with NFTs, my digital art suddenly has value to it that it did not have before, in a way, because of the pricing that people used to put into traditional art from different genres, right? So this is an amazing opportunity for me, and that's also what drew me into it, understanding that I can sell digital art here in the way that it's deserved to be sold. Because before that, I remember speaking to someone at a gallery, and he said, listen, I don't want to put your art in a gallery, even though I'm already a known artist. So you wouldn't even think, right? I have the followers, I have my fan base and everything. But he told me, your style is just not something that would sell to our collectors. Like, uh, in the way of like, this is not the traditional art. And then he told me, like, try to do something like these artists are doing. And I didn't want to do that. And then kind of I was feeling like, okay, on the one hand, I have here this opportunity, but I need to give up who I am. But with NFTs, we can really, I think, as digital artists, show the full power of who we are and really be celebrated. So this is a really amazing part. Another thing about what do I think about it for artists, like the difference between NFTs and between the traditional art world. So yes, they will be the galleries. They will always be the galleries. And I don't know if if it's a bad thing necessarily that they're taking percentages, because if it's an art dealer that has the right connections and can upsell your art to a level that is very respectful, or give you, the marketing, even before you didn't really need the galleries in 2021, with social media, you can connect directly to your collectors, right? But it's a lot of work, the marketing of it. So I think the galleries are good for the marketing of it and for connecting with the appropriate collectors and giving you opportunities. And, sadly, I did see some galleries that are exploiting artists, taking huge commissions or even charging really high fees just to get into galleries. But it's something that we also saw before. And another thing is that what I love about the NFTs is the automation. Also, for me, I had before NFTs, how do you say, like commissions, like after purchasing your art, that you would get a percentage. But I had that in the licensing world. But it was very hard as an artist to follow up. And a lot of times, you can't really know what are the amounts that you're supposed to get, what is really going on. And here, I think it's a beautiful automation that you get it automatically, and you don't need to be, so scared that like you don't have the right lawyer, and then they can just not pay you properly the amount that you need to get, or stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's it. And there's more, actually. It's crazy. It's such a crazy world. But I'll let the panel continue.
Yeah, that's amazing, Talia. Thank you so much. Yeah, I completely forgot about licensing as well, but you're absolutely right. Like, it's so difficult not to only keep track, but also, I mean, royalties is something that I've seen like in the publishing world. Like, when I create a book, like I get royalties from like, there's an advance and then there's royalties. But like, if you're talking about art world, yeah, licensing is like one way of that. But again, you're so right. Like, it's so difficult to keep track of it. You keep on following up sometimes as well, and it's really like, and with NFTs, it's really it's kind of automated and it's there for you. There for you. I wonder, it's so funny like how you mentioned about super rare and known origin and like all of these platforms that are already kind of full. And I'm just wondering, we keep saying we're early, but if these platforms are already kind of full, what is going to happen when there are more artists coming into the space? That could be something that platforms need to kind of fix, or maybe we need to fix, like as an artist. Yeah, that's really interesting just to think about that. Emonee, would love to hear from you.
Yeah, so I learned about NFTs from a friend of mine. They were posting on Instagram, and he was like, his name is Motion by Nick, and he does YouTube tutorials as well. And he started posting like, "Hey, I'm selling this piece," and I'm like, "How? Like that makes no sense." And like it was on Super Rare, and I was having such a hard time understanding how that worked because I remember doing art shows and like every single artist there was like a physical like artist. And so they would sell their pieces there. And when I would make art, I would put it on a screen in hopes that people would follow me on Instagram. Like I had just been doing art for follows and likes for years, like just creating fan art and like just putting out like passion projects and stuff. And obviously like likes don't pay the bills. So I try to convince myself that like, well, if like I get enough likes, if I get enough follows, then it could lead to more client work. And there's this book by Joey Kornman, and it's called The Freelance Manifesto, and it talks about pain projects and rainbow projects. And the pain projects are the client works that you hate, that have short deadlines, that like are just not that fun, but the budget is amazing. Rainbow projects are the ones that super fun to work on, but you don't get paid that much. And so the idea that I could be doing rainbow projects all the time and not do client projects just seems like not real. It seems like an imaginary idea. And so when I started diving into it, I learned about NFTs in January, and I think I had my foundation by like February. And you know what's super sad? So I had a friend who knew someone at Super Rare, and they're like, "Hey, we get you like an account and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Cool." They emailed me and they're like, "Yeah, just send over like your like bio and like your photo." I didn't respond to that email because I was busy doing client work. And then within like a few weeks, it just blew up, and like everyone's trying to get on Super Rare, and I was like, "Oh, let me try to email them back." Nope. Lost opportunity. But I'm like, I plan to like apply, like actually do an application once I have like a solid group of work to like mint on there. But that was definitely like hurt my heart. But
They need to be coming to you. What are you talking about? Do they know who you are?
no. Like seriously, I was like, damn, I felt played afterwards. It was like, it's like that one person that like you didn't really, they were always like, "Oh, I like you so much." And then they like glow up and they're super hot and they're like a model now. Now you're trying to hit them up. That's what happened. Now the egg's on my
So
face.
funny how you put that. Oh my god, that was hilarious, Emonee. But yeah, Super Rare really needs to hit up all four of you and put your art on the website for sure. All right. So I have one last question for you guys. This has been such a fun conversation, and I feel like I can talk to you guys forever. So Web3, we are, like I said, people keep saying we're early creators here. Things are changing so dramatically for artists. I love it. They're changing for like all of you when you were sharing your story. It's always like it's obviously an upgrade. It's like a step up, and which is amazing. New opportunities, new avenues being explored. What is your biggest personal goal that you want to achieve in Web3? I would love to know that. Camila, we can start with
Yeah,
you.
sorry, I was on mute.
No worries.
So my biggest personal goal in Web3, I think, is the same as in no web at all. You know, my goal as an artist didn't change. What changed was like the opportunities that I have to just reach more people and create a stronger community without as many middlemen. So my goal is still just to inspire as many people as I can and to help them like through tough times and showing them that even with all the hard stuff life has, it's still like really beautiful and worthwhile. So my goal will be the same. I don't know if I will change someday, but at least for now it's the same. So the thing with Web3 that's good is that I can just focus more on my art because the financial aspect is much better now. So I can focus on the message and also I can reach more people. So for me, that's that. At least for now, I'm just still exploring so many things, and I'm looking at building bigger projects that can bridge the physical world with the digital world. But for now, I haven't like changed my big goal, so to speak.
And I think it doesn't need to be changed. I mean, it's fine if you do change it in the future, but I think it's a beautiful goal. I think it's something similar to like what Abby mentioned earlier, that but like in this community or here, like you have a better chance of like connecting with people, and I think that's so beautiful because I think like on Instagram or something, sometimes we do, if you're putting art out there, like sometimes it is very easy to kind of get blinded by or running after engagement, and that takes you away from the actual goal of connecting with the community, or why, or reflecting on the fact that why are you creating art. So I think your goal, and the fact that it hasn't changed during your transition from traditional to Web3, I think that's beautiful. So thank you so much for that, Camila. Abby, would love to hear your biggest personal goal that you have for Web3.
I just think for me, because I have the generative project Top Dog Beach Club, the thing I have to think about first and foremost is the people that hold our token. They have invested in us, and they're believing in our roadmap and everything that we can achieve. So, I wake up in the morning and I'm straight to work along with the rest of the team, and we are just thinking about what is the next step that we can take, what is the next connection that we can make. We're planning to go to Miami, as I said. We're really excited about that. There's going to be lots of people there that we can connect with. But it is just building the project, giving our holders more utility, and just making sure that we just keep going as a project that's been around for 4 months and is therefore kind of getting to a point where it's more established now, which sounds a bit weird because 4 months is nothing in the real world. But in the NFT world, yeah, we're holding our own, and that's awesome. I've really enjoyed connecting with people, like you were mentioning. Every day I learn something new, and every day I meet new people. And it really stood out to me at NFT London when I met you, Maliha. That those real life connections that you have with people, particularly face to face, those friendships that you make with like-minded people, it's just been so awesome. I think I'm going off track a little bit, but as a personal artist. I would just like to have some more time to create my own stuff as well. I don't know if it's possible right now, but I'm just looking forward to a time when I might be able to do that, if it ever exists. But I'd also like to just keep learning, because I just don't want to get to the point where this is it and this is what I can do and this is my level of skill and I'm happy with that. I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to make mistakes and learn from those. And I even fantasize about going back to art school or something like that. Not like I've got the time, but yeah, just keep building those skills, or go to business school, or just keep learning. I'm not going to do it though. I don't have time, but it's things that go through my head, right?
I mean, why not, right? You never know tomorrow what kind of maybe you will have some more time. I mean, to dream, right? To, as an artist, to create like just stuff for yourself or the stuff that you just love. I think being a successful artist, and especially creating a project like such an OG project like Top Dog Beach Club, is one of the first If you guys don't already know, well, everybody knows about it, but if you guys don't already know, go check it out. It's an incredible project with amazing utility, amazing team. And yeah, Abby, thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Um, Talia, what is the biggest personal goal you have for Web3?
Yeah, so actually, I think that it's so amazing that I had these goals all the time, but only now with NFTs, I see such a beautiful how on like to put them together, to create with my art, to help create an amazing community. It was something that wasn't so thought of before, the project. And now it's suddenly possible, to create um, a community to uplift and inspire and do good and bring joy and even connect with people with different events with our project. And really my goal is to not only continue creating my art that will bring joy to other people, but also to have this ecosystem of like women, of people to support other women. I loved, by the way, Maliha, your talk when you said that you want to create a school in the metaverse. And I think that this is like a beautiful way to take it, like to take it to, connecting people, to creating this ecosystem, to having like I want to do, for example, Fashion Week in the metaverse with my Eyes of Fashion, or all these different things that I didn't even think were possible before. And that's what's so beautiful about it, as well as like being able to contribute and donate to communities and support women with my art, with my project, that I'm just so excited that it's like going to be possible now with Web3. So these are definitely my goals as well, as educating women, like you said, worldwide, and helping them reach economic freedom or freedom in general, so yeah, this is something that really excites me with my art, is just being able to do so many amazing things with it now. And of course, continuing to learn, to grow, and to have fun and to enjoy, because that's why we're here. Like art brings us so much, I think, joy and like a way to express our creativity. And Web3 is an amazing way, to fulfill these goals now.
That was amazing, Talia. And you used the term economic freedom. We use the word women empowerment a lot, and it almost has turned into like a buzzword where people just kind of hear it, people accept it, and they just don't understand what it means. Whereas I think recently I learned the word economic empowerment. And I think when you said that, that reminded me of that. And I think empowerment in general, like women empowerment, is again like a more like a, I don't know how to put, like a buzzword, but economic empowerment for all, not for just women. Of course, like we need to think about equity as well.
Of
But
course, 100%.
yeah, thinking about economic empowerment, I think it's almost like a strategy that gives us like a roadmap. That what is empowerment? It is economic, empowerment, and I think that's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that. Emonee, what is your biggest personal goal in Web3?
I feel like my biggest goal right now is getting my nonprofit, Jumpstart Designers, in front of everyone's faces. Like everyone needs to know how important it is to provide access to lower income kids. I feel like as a woman of color, I have an obligation to make this my main priority and make it a priority for everyone else. Like the fact that we don't see enough Black and brown people in the space, it's a huge red flag that I feel like everyone's always like thoughts and prayers, but no one is actually like doing anything. And so I feel like I now have been fortunate enough to where I can quit my client work and be able to make these passion projects so that I can spend that time really making this thing like huge. Like my dream, like when I see like the kid, like the first kid with like a laptop, Oh my gosh, that is like what I see as like dream goals. Like I just feel like if this can help one kid get into digital art and like be able to break the bounds of accessibility, and like digital art is way too expensive for us to not notice the fact that there's a demographic of people who aren't in this. And I feel like that for me is like enough drive and motivation to make that my hugest priority. And I feel like if I can make a good enough income off of projects that I can make like every now and then, I could focus all my time on making this like the thing in front of every digital artist in the space, so that they know that this issue occurs and that they can actually do something about it instead of just feeling bad and not knowing where to put that energy. So that is definitely my biggest goal.
Yes, I love that. I love a big yes to that. So it was so funny. Okay, so we were Emonee, me, with another incredible artist, Diana Sinclair. We were on a panel in New York, and the moderator Emily, she asked, like, what do we aim to achieve, and we all three of us, being women of color, we have like very similar answers, and we were just looking at each other laughing because our answers were so similar. But that's the thing, like, as women of color, we know how difficult it is to get into this space. Now that we are here, now that we have the opportunities, I think this is why we need to. This is why we are so, like, passionate about bringing more people into this space. And you're absolutely right. Like, you don't know what giving a child, or anybody, like, who doesn't have these resources, giving them a laptop or giving them this type, sort of like resources, what that would change for them. And from that, what that would change in their society. Earlier we had an incredible keynote speaker, Elizabeth Strickler, and she was sharing her experience of going to India. And she went there for a completely different reason, ended up training girls to, how to capture their stories through camera and using computer, like sharing that helped those girls escape forced marriage. So, like, you don't see that connection right away, but you don't know how you're empowering people by giving them simple resources that are so common for me and you. So I think this is why it's so important to think about Web3. Of course, it's like, it's a liberation movement for artists. We need to bring more women and girls into this space, but we definitely need to think about the most marginalized as well. And, thinking about that, oh, we're already moving on to Web3. They haven't even, like, even Web2 is not common for them. So with that, thank you so much for being here. I think all four of you are so talented, so brilliant. And I think you've already achieved so much in this space, but I know this is just the beginning. We will see so many incredible things from you guys. And yeah, do you guys have any closing remarks, or yes, anything?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the invitation. And if anyone is listening and it's starting out in this NFT journey, the learning curve is a little bit difficult. So if you have like specific questions, you just feel free to reach out, and I will just answer as good as I can.
Thank you so much, Camila. I have shared Twitter links for all four speakers here, so please follow them, check out their incredible work, and yeah, just tweet any questions you have, out to them, show them support. And yeah, thank you so much, ladies, for being here. You're wonderful. And with that, that's the end of the artist panel for Women Rise Day 1 event. Thank you so much.
Yay! I just wanted to say one thing. If anyone is intimidated about getting into animation, or like they have art that they want to take to the next level, I'm going to be doing like entry-level animation, like streams for free on YouTube, just to get more women in the space and get more people of color in the space. So I'm going to like put details out there. So if that's something that you want to do, definitely join on to that.
Sounds awesome.
Awesome.
That's such an amazing initiative. Thank you so much, Emonee.
Wow.
Thank you, Camila, Abby,
You guys
Talia.
inspired me so much.
Yeah, thank you so
Love
much.
you guys.
Thanks, guys. It's been amazing speaking to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye. Bye.